Welcome, everybody, to the RnR Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, Bobcat fans. It is not brickball season. It is instant reaction season. I get to host a little bit today because why not? I was at the game at Oregon. Hope everybody's feeling okay. I know Mr. Foley's feeling okay. We talked a little bit before this, but first instant reaction of the season. I had a 2-hour drive with some people back from Eugene to Portland. I'm currently back at my parents' house right now for the day and the long weekend. How you doing, buddy? Happy Labor Day weekend. Week 1 is in the books.
I'm doing good. Very optimistic about the Cats. That's probably bearing the lead on my part. But yeah, man, we'll get into that. But yeah, it's good to be here. We have like a little heat wave going on in Spokane right now. There's just like a one red hot spot in the United States. It's in Spokane right now. We're going to be like 101 on like Wednesday. And we're starting school this week. So yeah, that's a little damper, but whatever.
Do you remember fire season of the COVID summer? How awful that was in Spokane.
Yeah, I do, man.
Yeah. That was the hottest summer I've ever had. That was the first summer I moved to Spokane. I just remember how miserable it was.
Yeah. People always ask me, they're like, how do you like Spokane compared to Montana? And there's so many good things about Spokane. I would say seasonality is better in Spokane, like having not a rough as winter as Montana. We have better springs and better falls than Montana as well. But Montana takes the cake hands down for summer weather and summer vibes over Spokane 100 days out of 100 days, for sure.
I think I agree with that. I was literally just bemoaning to my parents this morning how much I missed Green Bluff and pumpkin patches and kind of corn mazes because as Montana goes, we go straight from summer to winter. And I miss my falls a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe early October, but anyway. All right, ready to do rundown?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, I can start with, I'll skip our game. Let's go to chronological. Arizona State beat Northern Arizona 38-19. Never in doubt, but NAU kept it somewhat close. A Pac-12 after dark game. Just nothing to say. Expected, I guess. I think they covered. Oh, real quick. So mad. I looked for the rest of the spreads so we could fill out the rest of our betting sheet. Literally, as I'm walking into the game, like it, boop, all the rest of the lines came out. And I was like, why do it 2 hours before the game? But anyway, I was a little upset. I'll do better next week to try to look a little harder, but I couldn't find any lines for any of the other games besides then. But Arizona State gets the win. NAU falls. It was a lot of former Pac-12 teams playing Big Sky teams this week. So
yeah,
super fun. You want to do the next one?
Sure. I'm going to jump over to Northern Colorado. Started the season in the win column against the Chadron State Eagles.
Battling Bears.
The Battling Bears. It looks like they had 3 quarterbacks, Peter Costelli, Hank Gibbs, and Eric Gibson. They only threw for 131 yards. Chadron State passed for 228 yards. So a little bit more efficient. Did not watch it, but UNCO put up 14 points in the first quarter and then went goose eggs second and third, and then 3 points in the fourth. Chadron State was only had a field goal in the third, so must have been kind of a boring game. But I'm happy for Northern Colorado. I mean, already they got off the schneid. They don't have to worry about going 0-4 this season. Good job, Battling Bears.
All right, next game. James Madison bludgeons Weber State. Another win column for all of us in our betting category. 45-10, covered to 26.5 point spread. Never in doubt, was 28-0 at half. Yeah, going to be a tough year for Weber, I think.
Yeah. I was bold and put them last in the Big Sky. So every time they lose them, I'm like, okay, vindication. But James Madison, the arc of James Madison and Weber. What was it, like 2019? They met up in like a semifinal game or
Yeah.
something like
Yep.
that,
Yeah. To go
and then
championship. It
just two different disparate paths for those two programs. Okay,
gosh,
go ahead.
pre-COVID football seems like such like a different universe almost, doesn't it? Like there's pre-COVID and after COVID, like FCS
Oh yeah,
almost.
so like, what are you talking, like 2019? Because that was when our game against Oregon was scheduled. So
Yeah. Yeah. Or 2020. It was scheduled for 2020, but yeah. Um, yeah, it feels so weird.
yeah, that's crazy, dude. All right, Incarnate Word bounces back this week after just getting smoked last week, and they beat Eastern Washington at home, 31-21. Eastern Washington put 21 points up in the second quarter, and Incarnate Word just kind of matched that a little bit, 17 points in the second quarter, and then I didn't get to watch any of this game. They put 7 points up in the last quarter. I thought Eastern was going to make a comeback. When Eastern put 21 points up, I was like, oh, here they go.
It
And
was
Incarnate
tied.
Word. Yeah. And I thought,
Yeah.
Incarnate Word was going to maybe falter after last week. Who did they lose to? They lost.
Nickel
Um,
State last week. Yeah, if they go, I mean, they were a preseason darling at one point. I like in the way too early FCS polling, I was seeing them at like 2, as high as 2 for some people. I was like, that's generous.
yeah. So they even their schedule 1-1. Who Jared Taylor is the quarterback for Eastern Washington. I'm not sure I know of Jared Taylor. Did he play last year? He's a senior.
I think he played against us in our game because Vesperis was hurt.
That's right.
Yeah, he's the one who ran all over us because they just decided to run crazy and not pass.
Where
Remember?
did Vesperis go?
Tennessee Tech
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
right.
That's
I think he did go to Tennessee Tech.
okay. All right. So the Eagles start 0-1 on the season.
Biggest game of the weekend that was eyebrow raising. Sacramento State travels to South Dakota State and plays kind of an eye scratcher a little bit of a 20-3 game.
Yeah.
Sac State had some I watched about half this game in the car ride home. Some really puzzling plays. Like they dropped a touchdown where the guy was wide open in the end zone, hit him in the numbers, and just dropped it late in that game. And a lot of miscues, but to hold South Dakota State to 20 points, it gives me optimism for next week.
Dude, this game is wild on the stat sheets. The Hornets had 7 first downs. The Jackrabbits had 28 first downs. Oh my gosh. Uh, South Dakota State rushed for 255 yards. Sac State rushed for 24. Time of possession is crazy too. They more than doubled them up. South Dakota State held the ball for 41 minutes in this game compared to almost 19 minutes for Sac. It's just a weird game. And I watched that game. I tuned into it after we got done with ours. And it was like, we talked about it
Yep.
beforehand, just not the same level of talent that we were just watching against Oregon, that's for sure. But what a weird game. Sac is a weird team. I think they have, I mean, this could be like the Grizzlies too, just projecting, but a ton of transfers trying to gel together with the new coach. It didn't look good. It didn't look good.
Yeah, I had 14 penalties. I'm just now looking at the box score for the first time.
Isn't
That's
that a
it's kind
wild
of
box
wild.
score, man?
That's a Yeah, that might be a revisit one to come back to when we do our preview for
Yeah.
South Dakota State.
We
We
have to.
might break that one down, and I might watch that one a little closer than I did. But yeah, weird one.
Did you hear
I,
that their quarterback, Sac's quarterback, is like suing his previous schools for NIL negligence or something like that? He was promised like millions of dollars, and he
I,
transferred. He
I,
once was a 5-star recruit, and he only got like 100K out of it, and so he's suing him.
yeah, give me 5 minutes on our full version show, and I'll break the whole story down because it's
Oh,
wild. And
please.
I can give you. Oh, it is a rabbit hole, and I don't want to get into it on this, but stay tuned for some nuggets because it involves a fraudulent $8 million check, and it's great.
Nice. Cool. All right. Can't wait.
All right. I'm going to keep going. I want to do this one because I'm so proud of myself. BYU 69, Portland State nothing. Portland State has played 2 games now and has not scored a point. We're sitting after the game, waiting around, and I get a bet in for the Portland State game. So I put $20 on BYU minus 41.5 points. And I was like, it's guaranteed. It's going to hit. And sure enough, by halftime, it was 49-0. I was like, I think I might just bet whoever is playing Portland State and the points all season, or with the Portland State under point total for the year, and just see what happens, because they're going to have a tough one. And when you win like that with a bet, it's just kind of funny, because Portland State's going to be horribly bad this year, and I feel bad for them because they're in a bad spot, but their schedule doesn't get any easier down the road too. I think they have another money game.
Ooh,
oh yeah, they play North Dakota next, who almost beat Kansas State. So
does Portland score against North Dakota?
Ooh, that's a great buy or sell. Let's sit on that.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'll let you take next.
All right. Cal Poly Mustangs start 1-0 against the San Diego Toreros. 41-17. Kind of a coming out party for their quarterback, Diefenbach. Is it Tanner Diefenbach? Anyways, he had 263 yards. Ty Diefenbach. That's what it was. Anyways, good for the Cal Poly Mustangs. And it's kind of crazy because two of the teams that normally lose almost all of our games in the Big Sky, between Cal Poly and Northern Colorado, were some of the winners yesterday. It just seems a little bit backwards, but holy cow, they almost amassed 500 yards against the Toreros. That's crazy. So, anyways, good job, Cal Poly. I was expecting San Diego. I think I picked San Diego to win. So
that game was at San Diego too. It's a San Diego team that's coming to Bozeman here in a couple weeks, and that's going to be what's going to be worse, that or the Mercyhurst game?
Probably Mercyhurst.
Yeah. So, all right. Semi upset, I guess. Southern Utah clobbers Idaho State. This game wasn't even close. 46-24. The Fighting Kitty Cats of Pocatello did not show up in against a former and future conference opponent. Just a whoop down and a disappointment. I thought Idaho State's now 0-2 to start the year. They were my kind of fun pick. I was feeling good about after the UNLV game, but geez, tough one.
Dude, Jordan Cook was 23 for 45 for 334 yards, but only one touchdown and one interception. Idaho State only rushed for 23 yards. That is wild. On the contrary, Southern Utah rushed for 323 yards. Holy smokes. There it is. Okay. Do we play Idaho State this year?
We do. We get them at home for homecoming, I thought. Yeah.
Plus 400 yards on the ground, Montana State. Book it now.
I want them to be good so badly. I'm rooting for them so badly to be good, but okay.
Probably another head scratcher for us. It was UC Davis pulling out the win against Utah Tech 31-24. And I thought this one was in the bag for Utah Tech.
The Trailblazers.
But Davis put it up, put 10 points up in the last quarter to go ahead. I didn't watch this game. I went to the Spokane Indians baseball game at like 6:00. And so this is one of those late finishes. I was just watching it kind of on the scoreboard. So I wasn't able to tune in. I don't know, man. That seems a little bit concerning if we were thinking Davis was kind of a top 5 team. And not to say Utah Tech is bad, but they weren't on my radar. They were
1-11 last year. They're not an elite team in the FCS. So
yeah,
that's scary. That's an alarm.
Well, so let's see here. First game, people were pretty high on Davis's quarterback, Caden Pinnock. He seemed to have a good game, 21 for 31, 253, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. They rushed for 172 yards. I mean, pretty balanced attack. I'm kind of interested in what happened in that game. Let's see. Was there turnovers that happened?
You what was Utah Tech's? Utah Tech had a win probability of 94% midway through the third quarter.
So that doesn't make sense either. So Utah Tech had four turnovers, two fumbles, and two interceptions. Davis only had one. This is kind of a weird game, and this would be an interesting game to go back and watch. 21 first downs for Davis to 18 first downs for Utah Tech. Interesting. So, yeah, I mean, the score looks pretty even. I just assumed Davis would have waxed the floor with Utah Tech,
You would have
and
thought.
that wasn't the case. And so this puts intrigue to me around Davis.
Oh,
We got one
Idaho.
more.
Yep, Idaho and Washington State. I watched the last 8 minutes of this game, and it was a doozy. I don't understand Idaho's final play calling on the last drive of why. I mean, you needed 3 yards to win the game, and they threw a quarterback rollout on a weird. It didn't make sense to me. Settled for a field goal, gave the Cougars way too much time, and a minute
So were they on
46.
the 3 yard line?
Yeah, they were on the 3 yard, or they were on the 6 yard line. It was 3rd and 3. First down
Yeah.
was on the 3 yard line. Like a minute something to go, and they elected to do a quarterback rollout and try to throw for it when you
Hmm.
needed 3 yards. So that one didn't make much sense. They handed the Cougars the ball back. They marched down the field in a prevent defense and kicked a like 27-yard field goal to win the game. So not a great start for Jimmy Rogers, though. Oh boy, the Cougars could be bad.
So I mean, the Vandals could be bad, or the Cougars could be bad, or both.
Or both. That's, yeah.
Okay. So interesting. I didn't get to see that game. That was on again. I was at the baseball game, but I was most interested in watching that game just to kind of see the retooling of Washington State and how Idaho looked. Did you get a general sense of like they were going to be fine in the Big Sky, or was it too early to tell?
I think the Cougars are going to be a really bad football team.
Huh, okay.
Is my thought. It was a also like an 8 p.m. kick. It was a super late game.
Typical Palouse game right there for sure.
Typical Palouse, and that kind of sucks because those schools are 8 minutes apart. You'd expect that stadium to be full for not a rivalry game, but kind of a little bit of like a little rivalry of hey, you got these two schools, you got the fan bases are all right there, and to see it empty was kind of disappointing. I know the
Dude,
students aren't in town, but dude, come on.
man, I don't know if this is a mistake or not, but ESPN's reporting that Joshua Wood, their Idaho's quarterback that they were pretty high on, was 12 for 20 for 33 yards.
I do not know about that.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
might seem like a misprint to me
we
because
had they had 33 yards.
of passing.
Jeez, yeah.
Well, and then he rushed for over 100, just 101, just barely. But let's go to team stats, see if
Am I
that
seeing the
played out.
Cougars only rushed for 3 yards?
yeah, yeah. That's what it says. I don't know.
That's
So there
a
was some,
three.
yeah, there was some funky things going on with ESPN yesterday on their
Yeah,
stats because at one point it said the game was over for a couple of the
yeah.
games, and I was like, "There's no way the game's over." So I'd click
They
into
did
the
it at the
ESPN
South Dakota
Watch.
State game. Yeah,
Yeah, so maybe there's some.
weird. Yeah,
Let's go to box score real quick. 3 yards of rushing. That'd be. I mean, even in the Mike Leach days, the air raid days, you
yeah.
had more than 3 yards of rushing. Yeah.
That's a South Dakota State coach and team that's used to rushing the ball.
Dude, yeah, it bears out. One guy had 19 yards, another guy had 2, and then they had -4, -14.
Oh my goodness. Oh
So the
Lord.
net rushing
Yeah.
was 3.
Okay.
That's wild. Wow, talk about, yeah, that is, I mean, given what South Dakota State was and what they hung their hat on, there's got to be some rebuilding over in the Palouse for sure. All right. Okay, so that was fun. That's the Big Sky. That's the Big Sky first week of play, which is always wild. It's hard to
Yeah.
take too much from these games right now. I feel like we need to get like 4 games into the season before you really kind of feel where some teams are at. But the big takeaways from there to me were like kind of head scratchers from Davis. That was the intrigue that I saw. And then Idaho, to be honest with you, like
Yeah.
I was expecting to see a bigger stat line from Joshua Wood. They didn't score in the first 3 quarters. I'm,
Yeah.
ex- I'll get a little bit more intel on Monday when I talk to Mr. Krotzer. His son is a senior defensive lineman for Idaho to see kind of what happened. But yeah, a little bit of intrigue right now for sure.
Would have been a massive win for the Vandals. And they would
Do
have
you
been
think it
feeling
would
good.
have been like? I feel like it would have been just like us beating New Mexico last year. Like,
Yeah, breaking in a new coach though, like hey, you'd feel good. Your program just went through a ton of turmoil. You got a new coach, and it would make me feel like you rode the ship a little bit. But
okay.
anyway, all right, let's get into our game. Bobcats fall 59-13 in Eugene in front of a packed near capacity crowd, and it wasn't close ever.
Yeah, I'm optimistic, man.
Yeah,
We'll get into it. So the way we do these instant reaction shows, we're not going to go long form on this, but
nope.
we broke it down into some goods, the okays, and the Bobby Hawks. So let's start off with some goods.
You want me to start off it?
Yeah, man, go for it.
All right, let me. Justin Lamson. I thought he played a pretty dang good football game. I don't have his stats up here. I'm going to pull them up here in a second. Best when you play a game like this, you can't make a ton of mental mistakes. And we had another good was no turnovers besides the punt, but I don't really count that as a turnover. No turnovers, and you didn't whenever he threw passes, and he threw some passes long, but he never put the ball in danger. And that was one thing that stood out to me that I was really impressed with. When he threw it out of the reach of the defensive backs and the safeties. He put it where only his guy could catch it, and he took care of the football. There was a lot of times during that game, especially in the second half, where I looked around with his decision making, and I thought we were better. Like if you could tell me if you want to play this game with Justin Lamson or Tommy Millott, I'll take the Justin Lamson decision making and how he played that game with every time. I thought he played a really good football game, and I really liked it. No offense to Tommy, I just thought Justin's play and how, his style of play was more suited for that game. And I thought he commanded the offense very well. And that gave me a lot of hope going into the year.
Yeah, like 100%. A little piggyback off of that would be like he made quick decisions, and like that is probably the best thing he did was he didn't think twice about throwing the ball. He wasn't going through progressions. He didn't have time
No,
to go through
he didn't have
progressions.
time.
No,
He had one potato or Mississippi, as you like to
yeah.
say.
But a lot of that probably comes back to the coaching too. Sturbick called a good game, I thought. I mean, if I was thinking, I was talking with another guy. It was past Bobcat teams would have been like, okay, we're still going to try to run the ball 50 times, and you're
Yeah.
not going to run 50 times against that team and get anything. That was an elite defensive line. And so the Tommy Ball version of that game feels a lot worse to me than the quick passing game. Now go, fast forward into the season, that opens up so much because we're going to play games where we can run the ball, like and hang our hat on that still. But that quick passing game is there, and that we had, let's see, where is it at right now? What was it? Team stats. I think 17 first downs against these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
A
pretty
lot.
decent.
12 of those came in garbage time, albeit. But still, even against their seconds, we were moving the ball and, making plays.
Well, and their seconds are 4 and 5 star dudes
Yeah.
that are waiting who are were elite recruits.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, we're talking Oregon football right here. All right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we'll get into that. Lamson, he was 21 or 23 for 31, 23 out of 31 for 198. We did a buy or sell on our show last week about if we were going to run the ball for 200 yards or pass the ball for 200 yards. And I think we bought running the ball for 200 yards.
I sold both.
Oh, you did?
I'm pretty
I
sure I
actually
sold
bought
both, yeah. You
the
bought one of
passing.
them, and then I thought Thorny bought both.
Yeah.
which I
So
was a little optimistic.
I'll give you another thing to be happy about. Taco Dollar. I think Taco Dollar is
Great
going to
game.
thrive
He
in
had an
this offense.
amazing game.
Yep. I know people were on Bobcat Nation are like, shut Taco down. The weird concept of not wanting our players to play good so bigger programs don't offer him deals to go elsewhere. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, 12 catches for 107 yards. He was Lamson's favorite target. At one point, I was like, Lamson needs to look at somebody else. But I
Poor
thought Taco
Taco.
played great. I thought he got concussed in the middle of the game. He hit like
Nope.
a kind of nailed his head on the ground and came out for a little bit. He looked a little woozy, but he came back. So not too worried about that. Nice job, Taco.
Yeah. Another good field goal game. Hey, 2 42-yard field goals in a rambunctious environment, I'll say, where you're getting, it's loud trying to make pressure field goals, especially the one before the half. I looked at some people and I said, 2 years ago, this would feel impossible.
Impossible.
So the fact that
Grooved him.
it made me feel really good going into the year of, hey, you know what? We found a field goal kicker, and he was good in the national championship game. He was good throughout the season last year. It feels fixed, and that makes me feel so good and so comfortable going into this year that we have a quality, reliable field goal unit.
Yeah. He might be the best field goal kicker we will have in quite some time. He grooved that 41 yard and 42 yards. Perfect little draws right down the middle. Super stoked to see Miles do that. Another positive I saw, I thought our young defensive backs played well. We had one pass interference call, but they didn't give up anything really big. I
No,
mean, you can nitpick on some of their pad level with tackling. We'll get into that probably tomorrow.
I'm not even going to nitpick that. It
But
wouldn't have mattered.
what you wanted them to do during this game was not give up big plays, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And they were fast, and they flew to the ball, and I feel like they played with a chip on their shoulder. They were trash talking out there a little bit. I liked it, man. I like and what a game to kind of get underneath your belt if you're a freshman, a redshirt freshman, go play Knotson against the top 4 team in the nation, and then you're like, okay, and bring on the rest of the guys because that speed is, we're not going to see anything like that. Maybe one or two guys sprinkled in there, but yeah, good job, DBs.
Longest touchdown was 25 yards, I believe. So we gave up some big plays, but we didn't give up any big touchdowns. And we stuck with plays and we tackled, and that was impressive to see.
Yeah.
Let me think. I'm still looking through my stuff if I have any more goods. I don't want you to answer this. I want you to write this down for me so I don't forget it. Buy or sell, Miles Stansted will be the Montana State all-time points leader by the time he graduates.
Okay, I'll have to research that tonight when I'm prepping for the show tomorrow.
I'm just going to put this out here because I want to put it on here, and it just popped in my mind, and I know I'll forget it, but I want to throw that out there because that might be a good one to keep in our back pocket.
Is it Jason Cunningham, the all-time points leader? Do you have that with you?
I do not, so we'll follow up on that.
Put a pin in that. Okay,
that's one to chew on for
So I'll give you another good. I thought our defense standing up Oregon's on the goal line three downs in a row, and then Oregon sneaking it in on the fourth. But
I thought that was
going first, second, and third. Yeah, right there.
I was like, just kick a field goal. You're already kicking our butts. Like, give us the win here, and they decided to break our wills. But oh well.
Man, we went toe to toe with them 3 out of those 4 snaps, and that's pretty stinking good in my book. That made me like, good job, fellas. That was a good stand.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah, no. I had a lot of positives to take away. In person, I have 2 more things to say, but in person, there was a ton of plays that I saw where either it was a defensive play and we were right there to make the tackle, or offensively where we had a guy in open field, or the blocking. And I'm like, I thought both times, if this is an FCS team or a middle of the road FCS team, or even one of the top FCS team, I'm like, that's either a touchdown or a 20-yard gain or a 3-yard loss, or you've stopped that guy and it's 3rd down. So there was a ton of those plays where I just had to take away, we're not going to see a team like this. They're not in our division of football. Flush it. We made some really good plays. There was a lot to be really excited about.
Yeah.
Last two things I'll say for my goods. Our fans traveled extremely well to this game. And I have some pictures I was going to send out. Kudos to you, Bobcat Nation. Like it was really cool to see that many Bobcats there, to see that many Bobcats loud and proud, to see that much blue in the stadium. Well done. We represented very well, and that made me pretty happy to see that we are at this point of the fan base where we are a good traveling. We travel better than a lot of FBS teams, and that's really cool to see at this point.
Yeah.
Other thing, Oregon. I had a great time. Fans were will give credit where credit's due, and this is coming from a Husky fan too. Oregon fans were incredibly nice. They were really accommodating. We had a great time. Shout out to them. They did very well hosting us, and I want to say
Nice.
thank you to them. It was a good experience. And when normally you only hear bad experiences, I want to say when I have a good experience somewhere too, Oregon, good experience. Thanks for having us. People shook our hands. Welcome. Where you're from. What you want to be hosted like.
Nice, man. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Breeze into the OKs.
Yep.
These will go a little bit faster. Our instant reaction show normally are pretty
Sorry.
quick ones, so we'll plow through these.
We had 12 games to break down too.
Yeah. Chris Long, man, he almost had a ridiculous one-hand touchdown on a back shoulder fade, which is just okay, but it could have been like an elite play. But he flashed to me when you could tell like his speed. I was like, okay, there it is. That's what I've been hearing about. So I'm looking forward to seeing more from Chris Long.
O-line, I thought played pretty good. Albeit, Burke Bastel being hurt, not having your starting center, that was surprise.
Yeah. Everybody shifted on the O-line. So
yeah,
that's something to think about. Like that whole O-line played a different position than they were planning on playing and practicing prior to that week.
So that's where I'm going to shift penalties from Bobby Houck to the OK, because we had a lot of procedural penalties, but I'm going to put that on the environment and just line continuity that they'd been practicing one way, and now you have somebody else hiking the ball. It can make the world of difference on the offensive line when you're playing a new position, trying to get your reads and your stuff together. So procedural stuff was penalty wise, I just thought was okay. First game of the season, I'll let it slide. But yeah, honestly, D line too. I thought both lines actually played pretty good. We got sucked in with a little outside contain, but again, what are you going to do?
Yeah, and I think that's part of my okay was I think that the coaches made good in-game adjustments for what we were seeing early on. Not being able to set the edge early in that first two drives was like, oh gosh, but we didn't seem to have that problem afterwards. And in fact, I would say for the most part, we kind of stuffed the run. They're inside run against us until late when like they were just leaning on us and we were obviously kind of tired. So that was okay. That was okay to me.
I think that's pretty much it for my OKs.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we've kind of covered the most. Bad. The sequence I want to talk about, obviously the block punt. Punting was not great. You're rolling out a true freshman, so I don't want to. True freshman, and that's his first ever college game, and that's tough. That's a tough one to start your college career. Makes you. It's the difference between a true freshman trying to learn, welcome to college, and then you had Brendan Hall, who just would boot the ball out of the end zone literally every time, and you never had to worry about it. I mean, easiest job in the world last year was being on the MSU kickoff team. So,
yeah,
needs improvement, but I'm sure it will improve. We got a great special teams coordinator. We've got a good history of special teams at this point. I think it'll fix itself. And again, you're not going to see those kind of people rushing you, but punting needs to be improved a little bit. That just was a concern.
Switch the momentum because Montana State, like Kobe Frocker, nailed a punt and we pinned them.
Yeah.
That
procedural
coverage.
That penalty was bogus too. That was a bad call.
Five guys in the backfield on a punt. I was like, I haven't heard that one before. But
it was like they told us, apparently they warned us, but it was that was a bad call and one that didn't need to be called in a game like that.
Mm,
That was a that was just an officiating call where it's like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you calling that? That was a terrible move.
yeah. And then they go in and score. So it's kind of avalanched on us right there at that moment, and you're like, oh, okay, so that's that. But yeah, I'd say that was in our bad. And to me, the bad, and I'm just gonna state it, is playing Oregon. Like there is a difference in playing FBS games and then playing like the top elite programs of the FBS, just because I think we're at a state in this program right now. None of us were expecting a win in this. Like true serum, we weren't expecting a win.
No.
Did we say the under that for the Bobcats to cover? Probably. I think we probably,
I
if we
think
went
we did
listen
too,
back.
just trying to be a little optimistic and
Yeah,
maybe
right.
that was a little Idaho from last year, maybe.
But yeah, it's we got $750,000 for the paycheck. This game was on the books back in 2019, which seems like eons ago. It, it's just at a point now where you bring in another FCS school to a Bobcat Stadium, and we make more money, and we get a W on our column. There, we're going to look for the silver linings in this game, and in like 5-6 weeks, we won't even be thinking about this game, and we'll be looking at Oregon, seeing how they're matching up, and probably having some validation to some of our takes right now. But I think a lot of Bobcats yesterday were thinking, why are we even playing these guys? They're like, what's the use? Like this feels like a money grab when we would have made more money when we were, in Bozeman. So it just seemed kind of meh to me. That's my
Yeah,
Bobby Houck moment.
they would have smoked. They're going to smoke a lot of teams this year. They're going to smoke a lot of FBS teams. Their speed was just so incredible. I
Unreal.
don't think we'll play a game like this in a very long time. It's a sobering feeling, especially in the last 4 years. I know the Oregon State game was a little bit like this too, but we don't. Well, I like playing New Mexico and Nevada Reno way better than I like playing this game, and I had a fun experience. But it's just like this is another level of football, and it was a whoop down. It was over quick, and it's just hard to believe that that level like that level of athlete and talent exists in college, but it does. And they I don't want to be FBS. I never want to be any FBS anymore. I was like, I don't want to play these guys. Like, I don't want to be New Mexico, and have to play three of these guys in the non-conference a year.
Gosh, so
Um,
like baseball
yeah,
has their minor leagues, and then they have like the
yeah,
the single A, the high A, double A, triple A, and then when you listen to like people talk about the majors, guys who are ready to play in the majors, they call them almost like quad A players, like
yeah,
guys who like waffle in between the pros and they get sent back down to AAA and whatnot.
yeah.
Like kind of similar vibes yesterday. We're like, gosh, there's some players on that team. You're like, man, that's just a pro right there. And we'll get into those guys tomorrow, but it's just different levels of FBS. Like we played New Mexico last year. They're like a double A team, right?
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
they're not like almost to the show kind of feeling. So, anyways, last thing for me, man, was when we got when Oregon got the procedure penalty and we put them in 3rd and 14. And by the way, Montana State put Oregon in quite a few third downs, and like kudos, that was something we didn't mention. I think we blitzed on that play, and then kind of left the middle open, and then there was a receiver or one of our defensive backs got kind of picked by the referee right there, kind of ish. It was just kind of messy. I don't know why we were. That was kind of a weird call on that play for us. If we're in 3rd and 14, play something safe, get off the field. Why are we blitzing right there?
We were aggressive. Like, we were really aggressive in that game, which when it did burn us, it was I think I said it in the show though. I said, "Hey, if you're going to be aggressive, be aggressive and let put your quarterbacks and safeties on an island, but let's see how we sink or swim." And we were really aggressive in that game, and I like Coach Howe called a very aggressive game. So when you talk about are we going to blitz more this season, I think he's a little bit more of an aggressive coach
Yeah,
than Daly was. That's the aspect. It burned us a couple times yesterday, but we'll see against South Dakota State. But I thought he called a very aggressive game plan, and to be honest, I kind of liked it. going into the season, I like aggressive coaches. I don't like sitting back. I don't like, just conservative play calling. So to see, I mean, I think Bobcat Nation has been yearning for more blitzes and more aggressiveness. So take
Yep.
it what you may see. But yeah, again, defensive coordinator calling his first game and offensive coordinator calling his first FBS game
That's
or
it for me,
Division 1
buddy.
game in total. Yeah. So I think that's it. Feel good about yourself. I I felt pretty good driving home yesterday. Our instant reaction when you're talking to your buddies in the car. I had a pretty good vibe coming away from this, albeit the outcome.
Yeah. It's hard to say that you played well when you lost 59-13, but there's a lot of aspects where the Montana State Bobcats showed well yesterday.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Let's get out of here. We've gone 40 minutes.
Ooh, we got to get better, man. They're normally like a 20-minute show. Thorny's
This is
going to
our
be
Bobby
mad.
Houck week one our week one performance on the instant reaction. All right. Go Cats.
Go Cats.